How do we change from one key to another? In this example, we're going to modulate, we're going to move from the key of C major to F major. What you learned today can be used for any key. But before we begin, let's just quickly go over what the chords are in the key of C major. So the chords in the key of C major are C major, D minor, because we have the lowercase m, the little m, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and B diminished. I've just noticed a mistake on this slide, apologies for that, but this chord here should say chord 7 and not chord 5. But that doesn't matter too much because we won't be using this chord anyway. For today's lesson, we're going to use the chords of C, F, G, and A as an example. My progression will be 1, 5, 6, 4, C, G, A minor, F. Let's have a listen. 1, 2, 3, C, G, A minor, F. But how do we move from one key to another, as this is just chords in the key of C major? At first glance, it may seem there's a lot to look at, but you've seen this table before. It's the same table from the previous slides. It's the chords in the key of C major. Here we have the chords in the key of F major. Our task for today is to change from the key of C major to the key of F major. But how do we get there? We can see this as two rooms, room number 1, room number 2. We will use something called a pivot chord, which acts like a door between the two rooms. These two rooms need to sound like they belong to the same house. How do we do that? How do we move from one key to another successfully? Again, we use the pivot chord. So what is the pivot chord? What we're looking for is a chord in the key of C, which is also in the key of F. So let's have a look. These are my chords from the chord progression I played earlier. C, G, F, A minor. Can you see any of the chords that I have played in the key of F major also? Yes, C, E, G, C, E, G. This chord can be used as a pivot chord. But are there more? F, A, C, F, A, C. A, C, E, A, C, E. What about this chord? G, B, D, G, B flat. So not quite, so we can't use that as a pivot chord. So we have got 3 options. But how do we use these options? Let's just remind ourselves of the chord progression again. It was 1, 5, 6, 4. C, G, A minor, F from the key of C major. Let's just play that again to remind ourselves. 1, 2, 3, 4, C, G, A minor, and F. So now I want to move from the key of C to F major. For this example, I could use any one of these three doors, any one of these pivot chords. For this example, I'm going to use the C chord. Once I have played this progression, 1, 5, 6, 4, I move to the C chord. It may trick the listener to thinking that I'm still in the key of C. Why? Because both chords are in the same key. It will be the next chord that comes that will tell the listener that the key has changed. So for this example, I've added a few extra chords from the key of F. This is my chord progression. You can use whatever chord you would like from the key of F. I've just chosen the second and the fifth, then back to the second again. So let's have a listen from the start. In the key of C major, in the key of C major, then moving to the key of F major using the pivot chord C, C major. 1, 2, 3, 4, chord 1, chord 5, chord 6, chord 4, chord 5 in the new key, chord 2, chord 5, chord 2, chord 5 or chord 1, whichever way you see it. I've ended on the C major there, which could have been chord 5 or chord 1. So that's how you use pivot chords, a chord that belongs to both keys, a chord that acts like a door, that makes that smooth transition from one key to another.